There she was, this little girl, sitting in a beautiful theater. She had just finished watching her very first ballet, and she was so excited. This little girl was me. Hello, my name is Iris Van Weren, and I am a professional ballerina. Now, when I was trying to discover what I was going to talk about for the speech, I originally named it Life Lessons That Ballet Has Taught Me. But I realized that this probably doesn't relate to a lot of people. And since I've grown up doing dance since the age of 4, for me, it's just something that comes so naturally, and I just don't even think about all the logistics. Because of this, I really wanted to make this talk more prevalent to everybody. So I decided to talk about life lessons through the eyes of a ballerina. Since I can't really erase all my experience in ballet, and since it has been my whole life, I thought I'd share some life lessons that we can all understand and that transfer over to any career or future. Now, back to that story I was telling you about. The first professional ballet I ever went and saw was amazing. Crazy thing is, I can't tell you at that age what the music sounded like or what costumes they were wearing. I can't even tell you the dance steps they did. All I know was that I had this feeling inside that I knew I was going to be them one day. I was going to be up on that stage performing, and I was going to be a professional dancer. I don't know how I knew, I just did. And this feeling, it was like joy, and it's so hard to describe. It's just when something is so fascinating, it just captures your attention. For the sake of my video, I'm going to call this a spark. This feeling that we can have. Now, a spark can start a fire, or a spark could just dwindle out, or a spark just be something that highlights in your life. It can be so many different things. For me, watching that ballet sparked a passion for it. I began dancing at the age of 4, so young. I mean, I've literally been dancing for most of my life. Or I've had other sparks throughout my life. I figured out that I love cooking. I discovered that I like crocheting. It can be anything. I also have fun stories I can tell people about little interests I had as a kid. I think especially as kids, we experience a lot of little sparks, or things that grab our attention and then fade away. But as I was thinking about everything, I realized that a spark can create a new life experience. You can simply learn something new. A spark is a way to find a hobby, and a spark can turn into a passion. I think all of us experience some or most of these, and it's really cool to notice this. Now, I wanted to point out something, and that is trying. The simple act to try. This is a life lesson that I think we all need to know, and it can be affecting different areas of our life and different stages of our life. All the time, we're trying new things, and that can be really scary. But if we don't try, we'll never know. And that to me is a lot scarier. Discovering what you're capable of can only be done sometimes by trial and error. If you hold yourself back and you don't go for this new job promotion, or you don't simply try and make it in a career that you love, then you could be missing out on something great that could be possible. I think trying is something that a lot of us still have to push ourselves to do. I am an introvert, don't really love huge social gatherings. So I truly have to try and go to those events and try to talk to people. And, each of us have our own things that we have to try for. And so I think this is a really valuable thing that never, ever ends, and you always keep needing to do. Now, for me, I tried ballet, and that was a passion of mine. And this passion grew deeper and deeper the more I did it. So, what do you do with a passion? Well, I feel like there comes to a point in your life where this passion can either grow or it can just stay. So, at a crossroad, maybe that passion stops right there. And it's something you can tell people about, a story, something you loved as a kid. Or maybe you decide that this passion is just going to be a hobby of yours, and there's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe you'll come back to this passion. For me, I took my passion and turned it into a career. And I'm really lucky that that was actually able to happen. Next part I want to talk about is embracing the learning curve. Like with anything, learning something new is extremely hard, especially in the beginning. Maybe it's schoolwork and all the terms are really complicated. In my case, learning ballet, I first just did it for fun, but at the age of 14, I decided to pursue it as a professional career, and I really started training hard then. And that's when I had to embrace new things, actually, the real work of the ballet. So, actually, at the age of 12, I got point shoes, which, as a dancer, is the most exciting thing ever. Like, you dream of wearing point shoes. What I didn't realize was that the learning curve was going to be quite painful. So, point shoes are like a cardboard sort of material. It's not completely wooden, which is good. Your foot would really hurt. And you're basically going up onto the very tip of your toe, which now that I've been dancing in point shoes for about 8 years isn't so horrible. But when you first start, you don't have any calluses built up on your foot, and the muscles to get all the way up onto your toes are not developed. That means for like the first year or two, it's extremely painful. And the crazy part is it's what every little kid wishes for. And then once they start it, it's quite difficult. I also, as a dancer, had to give up a lot of time spending with friends and other social gatherings. Because of at the age 14, I was pursuing dance so hard and so much, it took up all my time. And I think this can affect anybody. Anybody has had to give up time to do something. Maybe you had to give up time to complete a project for work. Maybe you had to give up time for a school assignment. Doesn't matter where you are in your life. We've all had to deal with pain and sacrifice. A fun fact about professional ballerinas is they use about 100 to 120 pairs of point shoes in just one season. The average cost of point shoes is about 80 each, $80 each. And that would mean that it would be close to $10,000 per year. Now, professional ballerinas who make it really far will get offered free point shoes. So this is not crazy. For me, I still have to pay for my own point shoes, so I make them last a lot longer. I'd say I use about 10 to 12 point shoes per year, which is a little bit more reasonable. There's no way I could afford that. But it's something to know because dancers really do use that many shoes or more. Now, another thing about the learning curve is learn to love learning. This is such a powerful tool. When you can grasp this, it makes the learning process so much better. As I was doing research, I found out about the 10,000 hour rule. Apparently, after you've done something for 10,000 hours, you're considered a professional in it. That means I way exceed this in ballet. But there are other areas that I probably get close to and some that don't even get close to. But if you think about the career you're doing now, maybe you have exceeded that 10,000 hour rule and you are a professional in that career. Or maybe through that career, you become a professional. At the age of 14, I was dancing more than 36 hours a week. So I can definitely consider myself a professional, but that doesn't mean that I've technically made it at that age. Another thing about loving to learn is that keeping your mind active is super beneficial. We need to be stimulated mentally, and this is something we crave. Learning keeps you young. I don't know if you've ever done any of those learning quizzes where it's like, find out your mental age, but it really is true that learning new things will help you stay younger mentally, and that can impact you physically. We crave to learn. Learning is what we're hardwired to do. And I've learned from this course and from our reading that this is such a powerful tool. I found this Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 9:24 through 27. It says, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it, and everyone who competes for a prize is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we for an imperishable crown. Therefore I run, thus, not with certainty, thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified. Now, when we think about running, trying to win a race, as people who are not Christians, this is a whole lot harder. And they're racing for a crown, it says, that will disappear. But I think this is so much more powerful for Christians. If you think about it, learning is what God hopes that we'll do. We want to learn more about Him, learn more about the Bible. And this is just one area that affects our life. The next thing I want to talk about is perseverance. This word alone has so much power, and that's why I chose to use it. In the dance world, we're constantly told to strive for excellence. As a dancer, I personally want to be perfect. And a lot of dancers are known as perfectionists because we're kind of trained to be that way. But good teachers will tell you to strive for excellence. The word strive means to make great effort to achieve or obtain something. And that's a lot more likely than perfection. Excellence means the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. Striving for excellence is giving something the best that you have and not giving up on it, trying hard and working at it. And I think this is powerful for many areas of our life. We're gonna face things that are hard, and we're gonna need to strive for excellence and know that we cannot reach perfection. And God is a big part of what helps us in this. Next is reflecting. Reflecting is such a good thing for perseverance. When you keep go, 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 it's really hard to get caught up in where you're at and think that you're not doing enough. I found that working on the speech was really helpful for me because I was able to reflect on where I was in the past few years and where I am now. I can now say that I'm a professional ballerina. I could never imagine that my younger self would actually become what I dreamed. And this is just such a beneficial thing. It's healthy, I think, for our mind and our mental state to know that where we were at is not where we're at now. Maybe you wish to do better, and this is just a good way to grow. Maybe you needed to understand that where you're at now is so much better than where you were before. But reflecting is such a way to become free. Next, I want to talk about obtaining a thick skin. And I'm not just talking about the thick skin that I obtained from wearing pointe shoes for so many years, but the thick skin that you can obtain from any difficult situation. When you're trying something, you're likely to fail multiple times. In the dance world, it's crazy the amount of auditions you have to go to even make it. I have gone to maybe 14, 15, I don't know, maybe up to 20 this year. And I've gone to some that have over 100 girls in the audition and guys included. And they'll start cutting people immediately or halfway through the class. And you may not even get a chance just because your hair color or your height. But my dance teacher told us one of the best things I could have ever heard. She told us that every rejection and every hard trial in our lives is just giving us another layer of our skin to make it thicker and make us be able to withstand the next hard trial. And I think that looking at hard trials in our life like this is really beneficial. You're not brushing it off. You're not saying, oh, it was fine, it's okay, and lying to yourself. You're literally saying, that was a hard situation. I made it through. I've learned from this, and I'm going to have a thicker skin for next time. I don't know how I would have made it without this in mind. Never give up. This is ultimately what we all need to understand. We can never give up. And God is there to help us with this because on our own, we can't do it. We can't make it. But the Lord is able to provide the strength we need. On average, 10% of dancers who actively pursue a career in dance become professionals. That's a really low percentage. So for me to even try this career, I really had to remember not to give up. And the fact that I am where I'm at is mind-blowing. And I'm sure that so many of you, if you really thought about it, where you're at in your life now is amazing. Your younger self could never have realized where you'd be. So you might be asking yourself, how does this apply to you? Well, maybe you need to try something new. Maybe you need to rekindle that passion that you had. Maybe you need to discover that you can go further with something you love. Maybe you're at a point in your life where you just need to reflect and realize that where you're at is a good thing. Maybe you need a new perspective. Ask yourself these questions. There's so much power in each of these. Maybe you're at a point in your life where you just have to persevere. You have to fight hard to make it through. I feel like this is the challenge of our life. The great thing is, our life is so temporary. When you know the Lord, your life in heaven and after death is so much greater, so much longer, and truly the end battle. When you have this power to let go and this freedom, there's so much more that can be found and expressed. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you are able to take away something and really grow in your life, whether or not you're a professional ballerina. Find your own passion and take it. Thank you.